Tasting the freedom to do as he pleases, the more people struggle, the tighter he squeezes. Generals and ministers do as he tells them. His whole creed of ethics turns Machiavellian. Power, absolute power, corrupts absolutely. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. From deep in the bowels of our underground lair, Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, working harder more days a year than Joe Biden's on vacation, believe it or not.
Yeah. Do we ever get out of this underground layer, or we just did it permanently? We've been in it for quite a while.
That's all right. We're working hard, and our efforts will pay off.
I come up for air once in a while. I don't know about you, but I come up for air. Yeah, I think that's kind of a low bar that you just set there. Because, I mean, Joe Biden, how many days he works is like 3. So it's 4 or above.
Well, I said more than he's on vacation.
Oh, on vacation?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a tight race.
Oh. Got to work 300 plus at least.
Well, you know.
I mean, all the naps and all that on top of it.
I suppose.
Did you hear what he said the other day?
No.
There's no national strategy for beating COVID. Well, thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Appreciate you telling us that.
Absolutely.
Dunderhead, like we didn't know that.
After saying that when I'm elected president, I will get us out of this mess.
Yeah. Back to normal.
How's that
We're
working?
as far from normal as we could be.
Yeah.
By the way, song, I have no clue.
You have no clue on that one,
and that's a saying I think that I came up with, too. I think I came up with that saying.
Yeah?
But I didn't. Nobody's paying my royalties.
No. Well, you're going to have to take it up with these guys, and maybe you have a good shot at it.
What?
The name of the song is Absolute Power from a band called Power Mad.
Power Mad.
Yes, they are an American speed metal band formed in 1984 from Minneapolis.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not sure I'd admit I'm from Minneapolis nowadays. But
Well, back then it was a cool thing to do. But
always happy for the local people who make it. I mean,
yes. Well, yeah, they formed in 1984. They broke up around 1990, but they're back together again and have been working since 2007.
Just like Casablanca, everybody gets back down. We'll all be together again someday.
See, and this is the lesson, the wisdom you can take from this. If you're in a band or you're in some sort of performing group or you got a business group, eventually you're going to miss the glory days and come back together. So just don't stop in the first place.
Is there a band other than, say, like the Beatles who's like never done that? It seems like they all split up and then they, at some point.
Yeah, there are some.
I'm sure there are some.
Sebastian Bach hasn't.
Can't.
Right.
Because of, somebody's, Nirvana can't get back together.
They can't. With Skid Row, it's because of LSD, lead singer disease.
Oh,
so who knows? But Guns N' Roses got back together, so it's possible.
That Axl guy's still around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they got back together on tour, and so maybe someday Skid Row will be able to do that.
All I know is Kiss was on a goodbye tour from when I was in junior high until I got married. So there was
they have to go through the various lineups again, I think. And, everybody has to have a chance at saying goodbye, so it could take a while.
I guess so. I mean, I thought the Judds had the longest goodbye tour.
I mean, Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley came and went, and then came again and went again. So it's that's
well. Yeah. Who's the guy from the Rolling Stones that looks like he's dead?
Are you talking about
not Mick? But I mean, who's the?
No, you're talking about.
Keith Richards. He looked like he was dead in the 90s, and he's supposedly still around.
He's the healthiest one in the band, I hear.
He might be. I don't know. I wonder if Mick Jagger
or he's been preserved. I don't know, one or the other.
It's like Austin Powers. They were Vanilla Ice, Gary Coleman, and Austin Powers were all frozen. Yeah. Jay, I hate to do this to you.
Yeah.
But you know what today is in the open.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to me.
It's history lesson.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a little fun with it. Because there's actually some good things that come out of history lesson. Okay, so I got 5 of them. You might not get them all. hint.
Yeah, I won't get any.
Or 4 of them. Maybe it's 4 of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Start with the first one, a Christmas Day edition, Jay.
Okay.
And you were alive during this one. I'm just going to let you know you were alive.
Really, or according to you?
Really.
Okay.
And according to me.
This isn't like from 1913.
No, it's not from back when, you were dating the fabulous Moolah. No, it's December 25th, Christmas Day.
Yes.
1991.
Christmas Day, 1991. Wow.
Now, other than opening your Roxette tape for Christmas, what else was going on in the world?
Have a Roxette tape.
Well, I did. I joined the joyride.
Wow. You didn't even let me know what
this is a world event.
World event. Ooh, there's a big one. Christmas
A very
Day.
big one.
Christmas Day, 1991. Huh, that wasn't when they released the Do They Know It's Christmas Time at All? That'll no. That's probably in the 80s.
Yeah.
But, sorry. Had to at least try that once. You're shaking your head at me.
I'm just... The only thing I can think of with Christmas songs is Bing Crosby. So
yeah. You don't remember that one? It had like...
Well, I remember the song. I don't remember anything else.
It had like Bob Geldof and Bob Dylan, I think, maybe was in it. Maybe Michael Jackson. Bono, I think, was in it. It was one of those big old superstar things.
Oh, so it was a We Are the World thing?
Yes, yes. It was about Africa, and it was kind of offensive. It's like... do they know it's Christmas time because they're poor?
Well, here's the thing. We've been throwing money at Africa for so long. I'm surprised they haven't drowned in the money. Okay, so obviously it's to turn them into a welfare state hasn't worked.
It's a great song for entitled rock musicians to sing about.
I guess so.
Yeah,
write it off on their taxes.
They're poor. They can't possibly know it's Christmas time.
Yeah, they write it off on their taxes. Jay.
Yes, okay. So back to 1991. Wow, I was still in high school. It was, yeah.
You were still in high school? Oh, I know you were there for
school.
7 years, so it's possible.
Not true. Goodness. What happened that year? Was that, I don't know, end to the Desert Storm?
That was in March.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, you're on the right track.
What's happened? And
well, this is pretty big.
It was pretty big, and I can't seem
bigger
to remember.
Bigger than Desert Storm.
The Bosnia thing with Herbidan Milosevic, or no?
That was in the Clinton years.
Oh, that was the Clinton years. Yeah.
Okay. Your time's up.
Know.
That is the day Mikhail Gorbachev resigned as the General Secretary of the Communist Party, dissolving the USSR.
That was one of my favorite days in history. How did I
had
not remember that
Christmas
was in 91?
present, a great Christmas present.
Yes. I mean, granted, even though they're technically not a communist country, generally they really are.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
they might have flirted under Boris there, but I think they've gone backwards since.
I think so too. I mean, they may, they're even back to trying to take over Ukraine and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
well, I mean, I think they're trying the Chinese version where they're going to have a communist government and try to have some sort of...
Yes.
Because obviously a communist economy is what did them in, so they got to learn from their mistakes.
Right.
Okay, sports world.
Yes.
December 20th. This is a little hard, but it's a big day.
Okay.
One of the maybe the biggest day, and I'm going to say it's in the sport of baseball.
Okay.
December 26th, 1919.
1919. Wow. Well, none of them were playing.
They were not playing on that
They
day.
were not
I
playing
can
on that
confirm.
day.
I'm not going to give you
Yeah.
credit for that, but
Well,
I'm going to confirm that. No,
worth a
there were no
try.
games played.
Yes. Well, was that when the announcement came out about the Black Sox and their fate in the next baseball season?
No.
Oh.
They did not get banned from baseball until August of 1921. Kenneth Landis was yet to be the commissioner.
Oh, okay. See, I wouldn't know that.
Now, see, 1919 in baseball, that's my mind would have gone to that probably first. This is actually just as big, if not bigger.
Lou Gehrig died.
That's 1941.
Oh. I don't.
Okay.
Whatever.
That is the day Babe Ruth was sold to the New York Yankees from the Boston Red Sox for $125,000 and a mortgage on Fenway Park, which Boston owner Harry Frazee did not own. So technically, the Yankees owned Fenway Park for about 6 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Jake Rupert, the owner of the Yankees, who made his money in the beer industry, and of course, this was on the age of Prohibition, so he found another income smartly. To do so. So Babe Ruth became Yankee property December 26, 1919. The day the trade was not actually announced until January 5th, but the 26th was the day that it was all signed.
And his name crossed my mind, but I thought, no, he was a little earlier than that.
No, 1914 and 1935 was Ruth's career. Okay. We'll test you on Civil War knowledge.
Ooh.
Civil War question, January 1st, 1863.
1863, January 1st. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to remember my battles. We had...
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. It's not a battle.
It's not a battle. Okay.
There was a battle the day before, but it was not Fredericksburg, but it was not a battle.
Well, let me think here. 63, and I'm trying to think. Would have been the third year of, well, technically the second year of Lincoln's first term.
Beginning of the third, yeah.
Yes, beginning of the third at that point.
He was leading off in the top of the third.
Yes. Would that have been... Wow. After our big Civil War podcast we did, I should probably know this.
There was a lot of info in that show.
A lot of info. You know, that... and
No shame in this one.
Okay.
It's important, though.
You didn't stick this in your book?
No, it's in there for sure.
Book. Okay. Well, then...
Okay.
I can't remember.
This is the day that the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect.
Oh,
it was announced in September that as of January 1st, states in rebellion, their slaves would be seized and released. President Lincoln, they had to do a constitutional amendment to get rid of slavery in the states loyal to the United States. A lot of people didn't get the distinction there. This was a wartime measure to, in effect, set the stage for abolition. So it went into effect January 1st, New Year's Day, 1863.
Wow, I'm doing great today. This is awesome.
I'll give you one here. This is Minnesota history.
All right.
And you lived through this.
Actually, or pertaining, or according to you?
Definitely did, because I did too.
Okay.
In Minnesota history, this happened on January 4th, 1999.
January 4th, 1999.
1999.
I was going to say.
It is not a Prince concert. But.
No. Okay. January 4th, 1999. I was even living down here by then.
Oh,
I believe. Yes, I was. That was one of many days that I was fed up with the Minneapolis Public School District.
So is it like a blur?
Goodness. I'm trying to remember what was going on in my life back then. I was in a group called Carpet Bomb. We were traveling around, almost got signed.
Interesting. Carpet Bomb.
Yeah.
It is not about Carpet Bomb.
Okay. Well. Yeah. Well, if it's not about that, and it's not a Prince concert, Would it have been? No. Let's see. Minnesota history. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Kind of thought you'd get that one. Jesse the Body Ventura sworn in as the 47th governor of the state of Minnesota.
There we go. Yeah, I didn't remember when that happened.
Okay.
I've kind of blocked out governors because there's been such a long run of just
there's been
it's like
been a run that hasn't been great.
Like no hope, for a long time.
I was okay with Jesse then. I don't know about now.
Yes.
One more.
Okay.
January. This is a Minnesota sports history.
Okay.
January 9th, 1977. What happened on that day?
January 4th,
9th. January 9th.
January 9th. See, I can't even get the dates right when I'm repeating them. 1977, January 9th. 1977, you said, right? That would have been before the North Stars left town.
Yeah. 93 they left town.
Still bitter about that one. And then, that's all right. I do love the Wild. Man, I would have to say, well, it's obviously a Vikings thing because Timberwolves weren't around yet either.
I'm guessing the Twins did not play that
right.
day.
Although it could have been, it would have been smack dab in the North Star season. Nothing that really would have stood out. So it's got to be a Vikings thing. It's got to be Vikings playoffs. And that's not the day that...
You're getting warmer.
Oh, I'm only warmer?
Getting warmer.
Okay. I was going to say, I wondered if...
You said Vikings playoffs. You're getting warmer.
Warmer. It didn't happen to be the NFC title game where Darren Nelson dropped the pass against the Redskins in the end zone.
Okay, well, considering that this date I'm talking about was the day before I was born, and I vividly remember Darren Nelson dropping that pass at Washington in January of 1988. Yes, it was not that.
Yeah, I'm no good with dates. Yeah, I guess I would have been pretty young too, like 4, 3. Oh well. Yeah, I don't know. It was after their last Super Bowl appearance. Wasn't it? No, it is their last Super Bowl appearance, isn't it?
Thinking about the death of John Madden.
Yes.
This was the day the Oakland Raiders beat the Minnesota Vikings 32-14. Game was played out the Rose Bowl, and that was the last time the Vikings were in the Super Bowl. The day before I was born the next morning.
Yeah.
And they have never been back since. They never will be back since.
Yes.
But since John Madden's having a time, they were in the Super Bowl. So I'll give you a little credit for that one. Right. But overall, Jay,
I'm surprised you didn't throw at me from World War II, December 25th, when the two sides, the Axis and the Allies, came together to celebrate Christmas.
First off, that was World War I.
Well, that was one? No, that was two.
It was one.
Was one?
1914.
I'm not good with dates. I know historical events. I know the stories behind them. I just not good with dates.
I
know it happened.
So that'd be the Central Powers and the Allies. Yeah.
Yes.
Or as Woodrow Wilson used to call them, the Associates.
Yes.
We had word games and think tanks even back then.
He would have loved to have been associates with.
All I know is this: the only general back then who did not run for president, who probably should have, was Blackjack Pershing.
Yes,
so I think he'd have made a good one, personally.
Yeah.
So
he might have beat old Woodrow Wilson, huh?
Well, in 1920, I think. Although I think Warren Harding is an underrated president.
Yes.
Pershing would have wanted in a landslide that he wanted it.
Yeah.
And he was a Republican. I don't know why he didn't run, but they tried to get him.
It's all right. It gave us Silent Cal, and things were very good.
Yeah. And by the way, I mentioned Kennesaw Landis, the first baseball commissioner.
Yes.
The other two people that were wanted for that job One was former President Taft,
Really?
and the other was General Pershing. They wanted one of those. They wanted somebody with a lot of cachet like that, and kind of an independent guy. And Taft would take the Supreme Court appointment from President Harding that year. So General Pershing turned down anything. I don't think that guy would have accepted $50 for speaking somewhere. He just wasn't in the cards for him.
Yeah.
You know, he just didn't want to do it. So, so a little context there about the first baseball commissioner. So
well, that's good.
Jay, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I really, really, honestly can tell you, I sure believe when people talk about holding law enforcement to a higher standard.
Yes.
However, that seems pretty situational.
Yes.
Because we had something happen over the last couple of weeks we really haven't touched on.
Yes. We wanted to get some more facts instead of just make fun.
Yeah, and I'm in a whirlwind of not understanding what happened here. And things may play out over the next few months. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they will. I think kind of covering, I don't know what's going on. Something's going on, though.
Yes.
With your friend.
My friend.
Hutch Hutchinson.
Yes.
The sheriff of Hennepin County.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure a lot of you have followed that. What do we say? He basically nearly killed himself driving drunk.
Yeah.
Up from Alexandria at the sheriff's convention. A bunch of Roscoe Coltrane's.
He was at a sheriff's convention.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 where they have the convention
Never
in Las
seen
Vegas.
one.
They have a convention in Las Vegas, and they get together, and they get to see all the
convention of
latest.
mall cops?
Yes, a convention of mall cops, and they get to see all the latest innovations in non-lethal gear, and there's like a big gun that it's huge, and it's got the pump action on it, and then you squeeze the trigger, and then like 50 marbles roll out the end.
Well, what the heck?
So I'm sure it was stuff like that. There was probably a keynote speech by one of them, and
keynote speech about what? I mean, what in the world are they doing right now?
How to militarize better? I don't know. Maybe whether or not to arrest for gross misdemeanors, like over in Brooklyn Center.
Certainly. I mean, no doubt about it. So anyway. And by the way, Hutch Hutchinson.
Or from here on, he may be known as Drunkerson.
Yeah. DHH, we'll call him here. David Hutch Hutchinson.
Yes.
By the way, I wanted to ask this question. I just wonder if when he got home, if he had to sleep on the couch. I mean, I wonder if they do that. And hey, go sleep on the couch, man. You got a D-dub. Yeah, you could go out there. You can spend a few days out on the couch. All right. Well, just had to get my Mr. Roper in there. Okay. All right. So, and this is interesting.
Yes.
Because Hutchinson did about a 15-minute interview the other day. Because the mainstream media has just closed the book on this.
Yes.
They're not doing anything at all. They just repeat.
Well, why would they?
Yeah, I mean, kudos to Rebecca Brannon, who I've met before, why is she 10 times as good as anybody in the mainstream media, by the way?
Because she'll actually write stuff about things.
It's incredible what she's uncovered here. I mean, and I'm following her Twitter feed a little bit. And by the way, do you know that like Channel 9 and Channel 11 are using pictures that she obtained? Mm-hmm. They're piggybacking off her to write articles.
Yeah. I mean, to the degree that they're writing any articles.
Oh, they're just repeating stuff. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just amazing to me. Anyway, okay. So, Hutchinson leaves the sheriff's convention.
Yes.
And literally drives drunk and totals this car.
Yes. It was initially listed as a one-car accident.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't mention the drunk driving at all at first.
Pictures of it, the thing's just mangled.
Yeah.
I don't know what he hit.
Well, his initial statement, like official statement, said, "I was involved in a one-car accident. I'm okay." Right?
Yeah. Well, by the way, he had more injuries than he let on.
Yeah.
He had 4 broken ribs, like lacerations on his noggin, on his back, blah blah blah. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, one wrong roll here, and he could have been soup. Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm going to back up a second because what I'm saying and what we found out since, like you said, Jay, are a couple different things. So he's suspected of being under the influence. I think that's how they word it in this report. And he waddles around, blah blah blah. They take him to the hospital. Nobody arrests him.
Right.
He doesn't provide I don't know if he did a breathalyzer because I can't find info that they did. All we know is he did a urine sample. So I just love saying the term urine sample. So it's like saying privy. I like to say privy. Yeah. So he provides the urine sample. And that is where they confirmed that he was a 0.13.
And it came back and said, "You're in trouble."
Yeah, you're in deep doo-doo, okay? So the urine sample says that he's 0.13. And I don't know what happens. He's not arrested, nothing. He's allowed to just go home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I assume. I don't know how he got there. Then nobody says.
Yeah.
I mean, he lives in Bloomington, so, and this is in Douglas County where Alexandria is. So he is scheduled to be arraigned on. By the way, he had a loaded weapon with him.
Yes.
Okay.
That's big news.
But he got charged with 4 crimes or 4.
Yeah.
I guess they're classified as misdemeanors, right?
I didn't actually see.
I got it here.
Probation avoided jail time by pleading guilty to misdemeanor DWI.
Right, but let me get out what he's originally charged with: 4th degree driving while impaired. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a low count.
0.13 is a low count.
No, 4th degree is a low count.
Oh, okay. Operating a motor vehicle under the influence of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Operating a motor vehicle with a blood content of 0.08. Carrying a pistol under the influence of alcohol.
Now, just for all our listeners, and any of you that have gone through your concealed carry permit classes know this. If you have anything over a 0.04, you get stripped of your right to carry a pistol. So, from what I understand, he's still carrying a pistol.
His license hasn't even. We'll get to that plea deal in a second here.
But I mean, anybody else. I mean, that's really anything more than one drink, and you're losing permanently your right to carry a pistol. You've got to go to the sheriff's office and turn in your permit. So
he has to turn it into himself.
Well, it would be deputies. He'd have to go to the center over in what is it, Maple Grove or whatever. Or I guess there's one downtown there. Yeah, he'd probably go to that one and turn it in. But that's what he's supposed to do. Yes.
I want to say something
after the trial, probably. But yeah.
Let me say something else here. The vehicle he was in,
yes,
is approximately costs $72,000. Remember, they're equipped with everything on the face. Yeah. The thing obviously had to be totaled.
Right.
So Hutchinson was scheduled to be arraigned. Now, look, I don't want to throw out the conspiracy stuff already here, but there's something fishy about this. He was scheduled to be arraigned on January 26th.
Okay.
Now, I know people who've gotten DWIs. I never have, but I know people who have.
Have I. Yeah.
And it takes a while the legal system is not,
fast.
Yeah, no, they're getting paid by the hour. This is not something that happens quickly. And you can try to enter a plea deal, but most of the time before you're arraigned, it is rare that a deal happens. This is on December 18th. A plea deal is announced. Now, I mean, look, this is before all the evidence is even really known.
Yeah. Well, I think it's clear he's guilty, so he can't plead not guilty. So by striking a deal, it just immediately puts it on the back burner. He's hoping to keep it out of the media.
If you look at media coverage right now, it's non-existent to this story.
Because it doesn't have to go to trial. It doesn't have to go to arraignment. Not. You get the prosecutor and the defense attorney together and work out a deal. Like, it can be done that night. But, it's...
But I just want you to think of, in lieu of, and I'm not comparing this to Derek Chauvin or Kim Potter or anything like that, but in lieu of what has happened with law enforcement and saying, we've got to hold them accountable, we got to hold them to a higher standard than we'd hold the average person to.
Yep.
I want to know if anybody thinks this deal holds anyone to any standard at all.
It does not.
I'm getting this from CBSLocal.com. Hennepin County Sheriff Dave Hutchinson sentenced to 2 years probation after DWI rollover crash. Now, that's a misleading headline.
Yeah.
Okay, because very rare does somebody get jail time on a first. I mean, they're not going to put him in jail.
All right.
Okay, that's usually doesn't happen until you have a second offense. He pled guilty to a 4th-degree DWI charge. As part of his sentencing, Hutchinson has to complete a chemical assessment, have no alcohol or controlled substance violation, no driver's license violations, and submit to random testing. For what? I don't know. He was ordered to pay $610.
That's it. So many of these people that get DWIs and lose, have their license suspended or whatever, have to go through thousands of dollars
exactly
to go to training, and
or they've got the thing on their car, the blow thing.
Yep. Well, everybody will have that pretty soon. Thank
you.
That's
true.
Let's go, Brandon.
So that's what he ended up with.
Yes.
The other charges were all dismissed in this plea deal.
Yeah.
In fact, I can't even find to where he's gotten his license suspended. I don't think he did. I don't see that anywhere.
Let me say this in his defense, and really the defense of a lot of people, I guess. I don't like that our laws have become so complicated that a guy drives drunk, crashes a car, that he's not just charged with drunk driving. He's charged with a DWI. He's charged with driving while intoxicated. He's charged with having blood alcohol content over the legal limit. Why do we need 3 separate charges for that? Why isn't it just one thing? I mean, it's so complicated, and it's unnecessarily so.
I don't get it either. The only thing I could think, I know there's different. When you talk about first degree, second degree, there are layers to a DWI.
Yeah.
Based on your urine sample.
But I mean, that's still about alcohol content,
well,
right?
What's the difference between a DWI and a DUI?
Driving under the influence and driving while intoxicated. I don't know.
Did he do both? Is driving under the influence like when you're stoned?
We'd have to Google.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to. Who cares about it? I mean,
but I don't like that. And you either break a law or you don't. But coming up with all these charges, for really one action. Now, granted, I think there should be a second one. Carrying a loaded weapon. How
about totaling public property? I mean, God, that's... Look, wait a minute. If he had run through like the front of a government building, okay, either way, somebody's picking up the tab for that.
Oh yeah, and I think that definitely would be something to look at.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know that that's a law in and of itself, but there might be destruction of public property. There might be, but
I think that's more graffiti. That's more hit and run stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more stuff like that. But I mean, obviously, the guy did break the law, and where I take umbrance with this is he's not having to do anything. He's getting off with a lighter sentence than most people would.
Well, I just want to know what is if I am, first off, where's our attorney general here? I mean, we've set the precedent that anytime there's an officer involved in something, he's gonna take over the case.
Well, I don't know.
Is there no
about
black
that,
victim?
But,
is that the problem? I mean, I'm just saying, what happened to holding certain people? And I disagree with that, by the way.
Yeah.
I think everybody should be treated equally under the law.
I do too.
And not saying, okay, well, based on your job, we're going to come down harder or come down lighter. That's just me.
Right.
The law doesn't say in the law that somebody works as, look, people have accidents. This stuff does. Bad choices do happen.
Yes.
Not excusing Hutchinson. I'm just saying he ain't the first guy to wear a badge to do something dumb.
Right.
Okay, let's just be honest here. But I got to tell you, the guy should give fewer interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you watch, there's a 15-minute interview out there with some lady. I don't know who it is. She's got a freaking mask on, so I don't care who the hell it is. But I'm baffled at the interview questions and the answers.
Okay.
Okay, now, I watched it several times, Jay, and it is on. I should probably let everybody know where it is.
Yes. Where is that?
Well, I'm getting it from Yahoo News, but there's a few other places.
Yeah, but it says full interview. Sheriff Hutchinson talks about DWI conviction.
Yeah, and
yes.
It's interesting what he says, because look, clearly this interview was, he got the questions beforehand, and there were no follow-up questions when there damn well should have been. Now, first thing to notice on this, because I call this Clinton speak here.
Yeah.
The Clinton admission. Okay, it's like the standard thing when Clinton got caught doing something, which was every other day.
Right.
Okay, he gave the standard response that you always give. Well, I'm a human being, and I've made mistakes, and I'm not perfect, and I'm paying the price. Hillary's making me sleep on the couch for the next month. I mean, I'm doing everything I can. I'm going to try hard. I'm going to try hard for the American people. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to even work harder than I worked before. I'm going to try harder than I ever have before to make up for this, because I understand what I did. Okay, because I could. I did it because I could, and because I'm the president of the United States, I got to be even better. So it's you get the classic
right
rehab speak. So Hutchinson just he repeats lines like that over and over. But this is the thing. The first question is something about, tell me what happened the night of December 8th. So he's at the sheriff's convention.
Yes.
Getting wasted. And this is what he says. He says, I went to my room and I couldn't sleep. So he had a hotel room, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Could not sleep despite being, I'm sure they would have sold him some off sale if he had to sleep a little more. Is drunk, packs up his and leaves. Now, keep in mind, he's in Alexandria and lives in Bloom. That's like a 2-hour and 15-minute drive, probably in the winter time. I mean,
2 hours from here,
right?
Where our underground layer is.
Yeah. So add whatever Bloomington is, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it's a long drive.
Yeah.
And that struck me. And of course, the interviewer just goes on to the next question. I would have said, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You had a hotel room and you got up and left. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, look, driving drunk obviously is an error in judgment, but when you have a safe place to be, it's like 10 times as dumb a decision. Mm-hmm. You're laying in bed and you're drunk and you decide to get up, drive home. I mean, what? I don't know. That just struck me. I was so baffled by that. But like I said, the interviewer just goes on. It's like Ted Kennedy at a judicial hearing. He just gets that question from Ralph Nees, and then just moves on to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so it kind of goes on like that, and like I said, he wasn't arrested. This is the thing. I mean, he wasn't arrested.
Yeah.
And Hutchinson keeps, and this is such a softball question. Hutchinson had such an easy answer.
Yeah.
Sheriff, do you, is this a regular thing for you? Do you drink and drive regularly? And Hutchinson literally says, quote, I think everybody's done it. That was literally what he said.
Wow. Everybody.
Now, Hutchinson could have just said, no, this is not something I do. I'm a social drinker. I occasionally blah, blah, blah. But no, this is not something. He says everybody does it.
The sheriff of Olmsted County made me do it.
Yeah.
I mean, anything would have been better
Somebody
than that.
slipped something into my Shirley Temple. I don't know what. I mean, I'm just like, what? Everybody does it? I'm like, who wrote this stuff?
Right.
Because, I mean, obviously he knew what I mean, you could tell he kind of had his I don't want to say push button answers, but I mean, he clearly knew what was coming. So to say, for somebody to have approved, hey, we all do it. We've all done it. No big deal.
Yeah, here's the exact quote. There's an Alpha News story that has that in it. I think everybody has at one point, the sheriff told WCCO. I don't believe I've ever driven under the influence to the excess that it happened on December 8th. Like, that makes it better. Like, you should ever be drinking to excess and then driving. Just because you were less drunk the last time? That's supposed to make me feel better with you out on the road and carrying a loaded weapon.
Not to mention driving a 2,500-pound missile on a highway. I mean, I don't know how fast he was going. I don't see any report. I mean, maybe they don't quite know, but but I want you to know, Jay, and Hutchinson wants everybody in Hennepin County. You and I live in Hennepin County.
Yeah.
To know that once again, just like Slick Willie, I'm going to work harder than I've ever worked before, and I'm going to repair everything. I mean, he literally announces in this interview that he's running for re-election. I mean, have you ever seen something like this?
It's funny.
The guy pleads guilty to a crime and announces this is Marion Barry level.
Yeah, I did it, but, I'm running for re-election.
What's he going to do? Go back to being a transit cop? I mean, sheriff's got to pay 6 figures.
Yeah.
So what's he going to do?
Sure.
I mean, it's his meal ticket here. He ain't going to give this up.
Yeah, it's funny. He says that he maintains that he is only a light social drinker. However, he also admitted to Fox 9 that every mistake he's made as an adult has seemingly been connected to alcohol. That kind of shows me that you have bad...
Now, do you honestly believe that I don't believe I've ever driven under the influence to that excess that happened on December 8th? Let me tell you something. He's 41 years old.
Yeah.
The idea that this is the first time, it's like when that child molester gets, I've never done this before. What are the odds that this is the worst time he's ever driven under the influence? What are the odds of that?
Very low.
I would say it's like in the negative.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second. No way do I believe
He would
that.
never have any way to know that unless he gave himself a breathalyzer every time that he drinks and drives.
Yeah, and I would say something else. You're quoting Alpha News again.
Yeah.
Sources in I don't know what to make of this, but sources in the Minneapolis law enforcement community have told Alpha News that Hutchinson was known to drink heavily regularly.
Oh.
That speaks for itself.
Yeah.
I want to say something too. What is interesting, let me stop right here. What's interesting is the silence among the people who endorsed and supported him. Yeah. They're literally hiding. Not one group I can find that endorsed him has come out with a statement. The governor, completely silent. Ilhan Omar, who endorsed him, completely silent.
Right.
Only a handful. Representative John Thompson
Right.
gave just a rant on Facebook about it. And I'm going to tell you something. I kind of agree with damn near everything he said.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty spot on. I mean, he ain't somebody I agree with too often.
Right.
But he was pretty right in this. I mean, again, he, just was like a banshee. He went crazy. But, I mean, I can sort of get it because he was accused of what? What was he accused of? Driving. He was accused of something. And they called on him to resign and won't call on Hutchinson to resign. And he called out the governor. He called out he's on an island by himself. But it was.
I give him kudos for doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he called out his own party, which you're not going to see among people. Senator, who is Omar Fateh? Fateh?
Yeah. Omar Fateh.
It shows you what I know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, it's a guy. Okay.
Yes, Omar would be a guy.
Oh, well
for a first name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quote, it's time to break the silence on Sheriff Hutch's DWI, the DFL senator said. And he pretty much called on his resignation, which, I believe in second chances when it comes to chemical dependency, but the path to redemption requires accountability. And the right thing to do is resign from office. Although Hutchinson, if you listen to him, has absolutely no intentions of doing that. And I want to say something else. This is what really pissed me off about this interview. And again, it required a little follow-up. Just a little bit of follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay? The interviewer, Hutchinson, had alluded to, because he always looks boo-boo face.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, he just looks like a sad guy.
Yeah.
He's got that, like somebody stole his toy or he was picked last in dodgeball or something. He's got a boo-boo face.
Yeah.
And he was experiencing difficulties in his life, apparently.
Okay.
The interviewer asked him about it. And guess what he said? And this is so offensive to me. He basically said, well, it's just, it's tough being in law enforcement right now. We're, some people don't like us and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
So that's why you got drunk and
No,
drove?
hold on a minute.
Yeah.
This guy was supported by the very elements who are perpetuating that. Mm-hmm. And then he uses that he's, you know what? It's just hard to be there right now, and nobody likes me, and so I just went and got effed up. I mean, really? How low can you go? You look at the. He's got an endorsement on his website from Jeremiah Ellison, who supports defunding the police.
Yeah, I don't get it. How do you do both?
Really?
Well, then there's something about Sheriff Hutchinson's platform that we need to look into a little more, because he obviously, where was he during the riot?
I was just going to say that.
The Federal Reserve. Guarding the Federal Reserve instead of guarding the people of Minneapolis.
He was in his office, but that's what he was doing. He wasn't doing anything. He was hiding. He was just, and that's another thing. He said something else about that in this interview. Oh, we've been through so much here in Hennepin County with the George Floyd situation. I'm like, during the George Floyd, you hid.
Yeah.
You might as well have been invisible. Where were you that entire time? You didn't talk to the public once. You did not partner with the National Guard or back up the Minneapolis police or do anything. You ran and hid like the coward you are.
We saw Kamala Harris more during the whole border thing.
It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It was just sick. It was just sick to listen to that because, for him to use that, for him to be supported by the very people who have, aimed everything at our law enforcement, even though our law enforcement, like I said, they're not perfect, and the law has to apply to them as well. And then to use that to complain. Mm-hmm. It takes us. I just want to know who thought up that strategy. Who okayed? Hutch needs a few different PR people, around him, because that takes some gall, in my opinion, to do things like that. I don't know. I was almost speechless when I heard it.
Yeah, I don't understand, how you and I would be treated completely differently because we're not sheriffs of Hennepin County than he's getting, and he's able to plea his way out of all of it, pretty much. He goes into an outpatient program, and if you ask me, either way, as much as driving drunk can kill somebody out on the roads, being drunk and carrying a firearm can cause you to. We obviously see he doesn't have the best judgment. He already said back to abusing alcohol. I'm sorry, but what if you got really angry with somebody? What if you got into a scuffle with somebody and you're wearing a firearm and you're drunk? That's, in my mind, every bit as dangerous as driving that sheriff's SUV when you're drunk. Either way, you're taking somebody else's life into your hands.
Yeah, and I want to say something too that happened after this, because we mentioned Rebecca Brannon, and she's really been the target of a few. First off, like I said, Hutchinson was never booked, never arrested, never nothing. He was booked by Hennepin by Ramsey County a day or two ago.
Right.
So what happened there? Anybody else would have been arrested.
Right.
He did seek medical treatment, but they would have been guarded or something like that. He wouldn't have just sent them home. And it wasn't until a couple of days ago, right after Christmas, that he was actually taken in and booked and all that stuff, which is another just bizarre. To me, that's another thing, bizarre.
Yeah.
Element to this. I don't understand it. Hutchinson, by the way, I should mention his endorsements last time. You mentioned Tim Walsman, Ilhan Omar, Jeremiah Ellison, MN350 Action, SEIU. There were county commissioners who endorsed him, Minneapolis City Council members, council members in other places too, the Teamsters, Stonewall, DFL, Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers. Not one has issued a statement yet about his actions. So,
well, if that mugshot doesn't end up as being like the main lit piece for his competition next time around, I'll be surprised.
And look what I said about Boo Boo Face. He looks Boo Boo Face. Look at that. Boo Boo Face. He kind of does look like a mall cop, though. I could believe that.
I guess that's not where I was going with that, but...
Okay. Now, and this thing's totaled. This thing is huge. It looks like it wrapped around a tree.
Right.
This is what she tweeted out on December 26th. This is really dangerous. Medina police showed up at her parents' home after she posted pictures of Hutchinson's wreck squad. Photos Hutch's lawyer aged. Now, stop and think about that for a minute. The photos were staged. So there just happens to be a Hennepin County Sheriff's vehicle that is basically totaled.
Yes.
Bunch of crap everywhere, but that is staged. She bought a Hennepin County Sheriff's vehicle, crashed it like jackass, and then staged it on the front lawn somewhere.
Right.
Staged? Really? That's the best you got? I wonder what Hutch is paying these guys.
Well, I mean, we've already. I mean, Mike Freeman doesn't seem to be pressing charges, right?
It didn't happen in Hennepin County.
Oh, that's right. It was Ramsey,
Douglas County,
or Douglas, but the guy in Ramsey.
But
sometimes they trade. Counties,
usually they do if it's to avoid a conflict. They will pass it off to another county. But my question is, how did police end up at her parents' home? What happened? Who brought them there?
Under what pretenses is that okay?
I don't know, but how?
It's intimidation is all it is.
This is
jackbooted intimidation.
Yeah, this is the people got upset at a school board meeting.
Yep.
We're going to go intimidate them to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. I mean, that's got to be what it is.
I have no other explanation for it. Why would they send police to her parents' home? You know, you don't do that.
They consider the case closed now. I mean, that's the other thing, too. So they actually are not 100% sure where this accident actually happened. That's another part of it, that nobody's given any info out like that, which is also strange. I mean, it's just weird. I'm trying to back up here to what she's tweeting about accusations that the photos are staged. She points to the security cameras that are actually in the photo.
Yeah.
Also confirmed with police that was captured on footage. So it's clearly clearly not a staged photo.
No.
God, look at that thing.
Wow.
And there's something here like with his name on it, like male.
There was also, according to Alpha News, some THC equipment.
Yeah, what's that?
Pot paraphernalia.
You're kidding.
No. But of course they don't really prosecute that anymore, is my understanding.
Oh, really? I'd like to know if anybody sitting in jail right now for intent to sell, intent to distribute.
Well, let me say this. I was in a situation where we caught a couple of people dividing up a lot of marijuana to be sold. They were in a car behind a building I spend a lot of time in, and the police had confirmed that they're not really prosecuting that stuff because the police had showed up, caught them, arrested them, but said that probably nothing's going to happen. And they had a ton of it. I mean, not a literal ton, but figuratively speaking.
Really?
Yeah, they said that just with the decriminalization that's going on and all that kind of
it
stuff,
hasn't been decriminalized.
They're just legally, but
yeah,
you know
how dangerous that is. I mean, to just have the law enforcement just nullify a law.
Well,
or maybe it's district attorneys.
It's more district attorneys, and who's charging and not charging, and because like I say, they got arrested, they went to jail, but they said it probably wouldn't go much further than that.
Well, that's just, I feel warm and peachy now.
Yeah, from
that. By the way, the Republican Party of Minnesota released a tough statement.
Oh, before we move on, we should probably say that. With Ms. Brannon's tweets, we didn't finish that thought. The police later told her that the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office asked them to look into her for posting the photos.
That's right.
So
this is using this office to go after somebody, to go after a reporter, doing their First Amendment duty.
But isn't that the progressive way?
Yes.
Obama used the IRS against the Tea Party. We see it over
Merrick
and over
Garland
and over.
using the Justice Department against parents who complain about critical race theory.
Yep. The way it's been set up to go after
big tech going after vaccine critics.
Yeah. Well, you tell me. We've all of a sudden got these vaccine mandates, and a lot of the vaccine mandates are, well, if you submit yourself to a weekly test, then that'll be okay. Except everybody knew this was coming, and all of a sudden we have a test shortage in America.
Well, we have a shortage of everything else. Why not test?
At the time they're implementing all of these mandates and people can take tests as an option. Oh, we don't have any tests. Come on.
Well...
Come on.
But you know what? You know what, though? I still don't like how opponents of this are going after this, because the courts aren't the place to fight this.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm the governor of say I'm Ron DeSantis, okay,
Yeah.
how do I fight I don't send my attorney general to go sue somebody. You know what I do? Mm-hmm. I get the legislature to write a law that any vaccine mandate in this state for any reason is null and void. And I say, Joe Biden, you want to come here and go enforce it? You do.
Yep.
And if any companies get fined, we'll pay the fine.
Right.
You know, I mean, seriously, because what are they going to do? What's Biden going to do? Send in the Gestapo? He knows he can't do anything.
No.
He's relying on these places to be sort of guilted into this. Mm-hmm. And the first drop of resistance, they're going to drop it.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, but, you know, with this...
But this is... that... And I tell you what, this has been so missed by media outlets that literally Hennepin County, somebody there, whether it was Hutchinson, whether it was somebody close to him, investigated the person doing the job that the mainstream media won't do.
Yep.
I mean, you know, nobody from Channel 9 or Channel 11 is going to go over there and do any investigation. They're just going to listen to his boo-boo face interview. Well, you know, I'm sorry. I tried, and I'm sorry, and I'm a human being, and I'm showing contrition. I'm gonna be an example to everyone. I mean, I'm a gobbledygook. Just I was laughing at part of what, but I'm just like, come on, dude, get serious for a change. You know, so. But I got to get to this Republican statement. Boy, this is tough.
Yeah,
I mean, this is hard hitting stuff. As Hennepin County faces, this is a party statement from the Republic. This is a tweet, their first tweet in like 6 months. As Hennepin County faces serious challenges with violent crime, residents need a sheriff who is laser focused on public safety. Sheriff Hutch Hutchinson, I added the Hutch, should step down and focus on his health so residents can have a top law enforcement officer better able to focus on fighting crime. Well, that's a tough statement, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He's likely to step down now.
Well, you know, if he doesn't, they could always write another strongly worded letter. You know, maybe that'll do it. Yeah. I don't know. I here's where I get tired of things. We have people that live above the law, and they're not held to account. You know, and we have these things that everything's spiraling out of control. Lawlessness is abounding everywhere. I was in a mall recently, and right in front of me, all of a sudden there were all these loud teenagers around. I thought, oh, please, but I felt like unsettled in my spirit about it. Next thing I know, of 30 people like right there, and the security guards try to get in there, and they're getting beat. And
well, the security guards don't carry anything.
I know.
What do they carry?
And they're not allowed to do anything.
No, they're not.
Eventually, the police showed up, but they still didn't remove all the people from the mall that were causing trouble. They got rid of like some, but it could have erupted again. You know, and we are in a
the women fight the worst too. Jerry Springer, the women fight just the worst. They bite, they pull hair.
We are living in a day and age where lawlessness is the law of the land, you know, and it's not safe. The people that we count on to protect us don't. Yet there's really only so much we're allowed to do. And if it gets to that point where there's great bodily harm, threatened, thank goodness we see that there are those that still believe in self-protection, but there's also plenty who don't. And what if you go to court and you don't get that kind of a jury? There are just no guarantees anymore. Everything is so corrupt, and there's nobody that we can count on other than us. And when we stand up for ourselves, there is a faction, a great large faction of America that wants to see you fail in your bid to keep your freedom and live independently every day.
I keep thinking the pendulum is swinging on that. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of anger toward progressives in this country. I think there's a lot of people who agree that public safety's gotten out of control. It's obvious that the left has no answer to it. I mean, they seem to not know what to do. I think pragmatic lefties understand that you can't dismantle law enforcement, but I think they're paralyzed in saying so.
Yeah.
Because they need those wackos to win.
Right.
I mean, Tim Walz can't get reelected without winning 80% of Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. He'll lose.
Right.
So he has to please them somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, so they won't. Funny, though, taking a stand on that might help him elsewhere.
Right.
But he's in a box. They've got him in the testicle lock box because he can't take a tough stand on it. I mean, what do you think? How else do you explain Walz, Fry, Hutchinson, all of them just letting chaos go in Minneapolis and doing nothing for days?
Right.
Because they feel like they can't. I mean, if Rudy Giuliani had been the mayor of Minneapolis, that riot would have lasted 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay, but so you're getting, and we're starting to see it. I mean, like Edina's having all of these meetings right now about carjackings and lawlessness going on. It's like Minneapolis is bleeding into the suburbs.
It is.
And of
Absolutely.
course, all the yuppies in Edina, they're not going to get their hands dirty with anything.
No.
Well, where the hell is the well, you're voting for the people that are pushing that. So but like I said, while I feel like the pendulum is swinging, all it's going to take is one incident to F all that up again. I just feel like the next, I don't want to say the next George Floyd, I hope there's not one.
Yes.
But the next police shooting, the next high-speed chase.
Yeah. But it doesn't even take a police shooting. I mean, as we saw with Trayvon Martin, it was a guy that was running, as security in his own complex. His own,
right. I mean, the
housing complex. And that still gets used. Trayvon Martin's name is thrown around all the time, and that had nothing to do with police.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, for the sheriff though to bring it back to Hutch, for him to literally declare re-election. I mean, it's just incredible. He basically said, "I'm not quitting. I'm not resigning, no matter what." Here's the thing: if the DFL wanted him removed, it's like Andrew Cuomo. Whoever really runs New York, whoever that really is, said, "You got to go, or you're going to be in a field in Jersey. You got to go." Whoever that is in Minnesota could get Hutch to resign like that. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to quit unless the people who elected him demand that he does. Mm-hmm. And you're hearing nothing from them. I mean, nothing.
Yep.
So, but I got to tell you, go watch John Thompson's rant. I mean, he looks like he's driving. He probably shouldn't be ranting while he's driving. He's like, well, he is looking in another direction. But, I mean, it's, I was trying to disagree with it. I mean, when he kind of gets into race stuff, and that's where I don't understand it. But But he's spot on about everything else, but the hypocrisy and everything, and the calls on him to resign. And here you got a guy who pleads guilty to this and runs and announces a re-election bid.
It's unreal. That's not contrition. That's not humility.
But like I said, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Go back to, what was he, a trimming?
Well, a humble person, though, would say, I'm not really ready to talk about that at this time. I need to work on me.
True. He could have said nothing about it.
Yeah.
Or he could have said, look, I'm not going to run. I'm going to finish out my term, but I'm not.
But he doesn't have to. He can run again. That's fine. But a humble, contrite person would have been more broken about it and been like, I screwed up. Now is not really the time to talk about re-election. I just got to work on me. If I'm going to be a good sheriff for everybody, I have to be right.
Well,
people would buy that way more than, of course I'm running again. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not resigning. What are you talking about? He was almost offended at being asked it. It's like, okay. Well. I'll tell you what, though. I have no confidence in Hennepin County, so anything's possible.
I don't either. They got the Derek Chauvin thing right, I guess. But
remember that wasn't the county. That was the Attorney General's office.
But the judge was county and all that.
Peter Cahill,
and jury was from the county and all that. So there was that kind of influence, but.
Well, there was, but I'm just there's just still a lot fishy about this, and there still is.
They're just trying to make it go away as fast as they can. They want to bury it,
but burying it is having actually on the mainstream media it's working.
Right.
Everywhere else it's not. So I wonder what will. Anything will become, but follow Rebecca Brannon on Twitter. Michael Broadcorp had a great thread on it too, and a few others that have shared that. MN Crime Watch, Minneapolis Crime Watch, is another Twitter feed to follow. That's way better than following any news channel. Just trust me on that. It's 100 times better. Mm-hmm. Way better info, way more honest info, not cloaked up in woke language. So, a lot more to come to me on this. I don't consider this over at all. So,
well, it shouldn't be. Unfortunately, I don't know. They're going to make this go away as quick as they can. So.
But you know what? I do love the idea of making his mugshot. That really should be
every commercial, every lit piece. Yeah.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you?
That's.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm not.
Okay. I don't know. We've got to get a handle on this, sooner than later. We've got to let people stop getting away with things. We have to hold people accountable for the things that they do. And people shouldn't get special favors just because they're in government. That's part of why everybody's so upset. Whether it's getting away with a crime or whether it's insider trading or whether it is the special benefits that they get and they don't have to go through the same health care. It's all bad.
No, they all get, it is all special treatment. It's just, this is another thing. Like I said, he was never arrested upon his discharge from the hospital.
Wow.
Never booked with a mugshot, fingerprints, nothing until a day or two ago.
Okay.
So when he's reached for the hospital, he just went home. I don't know what if he called Greyhound or I don't know how he did. So,
Yeah, I don't know either. But,
and the Douglas County DA, a Douglas County judge, they had to sign off on this plea agreement, by the way. Just remember that. So,
well, sheriffs, I'm sure, are pretty fraternal brotherhood or sisterhood or whatever, I'm sure that it's a very small group. I mean, there's 87 of them in Minnesota. That's all there are.
Yes, I'm sure they own all the county attorneys, too.
Yeah.
They probably do, so.
So, he had just come from the sheriff's convention. He made a,
I mean, I love it.
Might have been hanging out with the sheriff of Douglas County. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, I don't know. It just breeds, like I said, I think he should be treated the same. I disagree with the notion that some people are more guilty than others, but something's fishy about this. There's just something wrong here.
Cuff him and stuff him, Roscoe.
Into the hooscow. Well, have you tried any place that you haven't looked? No. Well, why didn't you try that? Some of the greatest dialogue ever.
Yes. Oh, so I don't know. Let us know how you feel about this.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll press on any future developments. I mean,
yeah, if there are any.
Yeah, there may be, there may not be any. If there are some, like I said, I mean, alternative media is where you're going to have to get all the info from. It's like I said, the mainstream media and Douglas County, they consider the case closed.
Yeah.
So he's free to run for re-election with his man at his side. All right. Don't you love that music?
Yes.
So fitting. Once again, Community Solutions presents Stylin', Profilin', Limousine riding, jet flying, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun, with the sign-off sermon, SOS! It's Jason Bradley.
Thank you, Andrew. I was talking about it a little during the podcast, how we live in a lawless society. In these days, it's written that men are going to become evil, unreconcilable, lovers of self, and that we would be living in lawless days. Here we are. We find ourselves in a time where good is called bad and bad is called good. I mean, we could have never dreamed in a million years that we would be sitting here talking about a sheriff getting into an accident with a loaded gun and a loaded vehicle and a loaded blood alcohol content and walk away with it without any real punishment. Likewise, we see it all over. Whether it's in our needle-filled streets, whether it's watching people not get punished for things that they do. And, like January 6th, terrible. What a bunch of knuckleheads. Shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. But all the rioters, that was okay. That's different. We're not gonna go after any kind of prosecution with any of those. Yet cities burned to the ground for months, for a year, for more than a year. And we're just going to be okay with that. But we have this government that is letting these smash and grab robberies happen all over the place. They're encouraging it. But, as long as you don't steal over $900, you won't get into trouble. Well, guess what? You've opened the door for them to come in and take things they don't even need. They're taking things and selling them on the internet openly. You've got carjackings, you have murders up. Chicago, it's starting to bleed over into the good side of town. All these cities, the murder rate is up like tens of percent over what it used to be. Theft is up. Arson is up. assaults are up. We are beginning to live in a place where we do not feel protected. And the only option is for us to protect ourselves. That really is the last line of defense. But like I said earlier, we can't trust that we're going to get a fair shake in that either. But you know what? Before I go down, I will protect myself. As will most of those with common sense. Protect their families. Protect the vulnerable and the people that they see in society. The elderly that are getting kicked and punched by raving lunatics running through the streets. Well, we've got to take a stand, and we've got to do this differently. But we can't until we decide that we've had enough. I've had enough a long time before I watched this fight break out in the mall recently. But you know what? That's cemented in my mind. I am not going to be a victim. I'm not going to stand there and allow myself to be harmed, allow myself to be disempowered. Instead, I'm going to stand my ground. Instead, I'm going to speak out, and I'm going to say it's not okay. It is evil. It is wrong. It is not ever okay. I will not be a victim. And I'm asking you not to be a victim. And you know how you do that? By pressing in, by loving other people enough to make sure that you watch out for them and take care of them. By making sure that you love people enough to protect the elderly, to protect the disadvantaged. To not allow criminals to continue their reign of terror where you live. I'm not talking about vigilante justice here. I'm talking about just upholding the law. And if somebody won't uphold the law, you get them out and you run. You sit in a place of authority and you uphold the law. You make just laws. That's how this happens. Not by, instead of trying to figure out how to get them to do the right thing, you just get rid of suspensions. That's not going to fix anything. And recent history has proved it's only going to get worse. And it will. It will continue to get worse until all of us are in jeopardy. Until we have Gotham City everywhere. So who's gonna fix this? Who's gonna change it? It's gonna be the person that's looking at you in the mirror. We all have a part to play. We all have something that we were created to do for this time, in this place. We were made for now. And this is a time of destiny. So I ask you to stand up, Minnesota. I ask you to put your hat in the ring and say, not on my watch. This will not happen. We will not lose this free country that we have for our children, for our grandchildren. Instead, we are going to take a stand. It pains my heart to watch it crumble in front of me. It pains my heart to watch wrong be done and nothing being able to be done to fix it. So, who's with me? Who's going to take a stand? We've had people coming to us saying they want to take a stand, and we're putting our effort in to help them do just that. If you want to take a stand, you get a hold of us. COMMSolutionsMN@gmail.com. That is COMMSolutionsMN@gmail.com, and we will help you. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's take Minnesota back. If we take back the local level, if we take back the nonpartisan seats that are appointed and elected across this state, we will have an influence on the elected seats as well. You can put that in the bank. So we're going to go away for another week, and we're going to come back with something real good for you, I promise. But until then, you have a job to do. Think hard, pray harder, and get yourself in the game. Figure out where your position is, and let's get moving. Because we love you, Minnesota, but now it's your turn to get to work. If I get too caught up